everything.
Those people together. We should all give Boris Johnson a round of applause for that unique gift that he has given Britain by uniting the people who want to leave Europe and the people who want to stay in it. How did he unite these people? Was it by proposing a solution to the problem that brought all our needs to the table and answered all our questions? Did he do it like that? Did he do it by listening to his own party, let alone the opposition party? Did he do it by listening to the media or anybody? No, he didn't. He listened to Jace Ree's Mog, and that bloody moron said, yeah, just program Parliament. That will solve all your problems, Johnson. And Johnson, not being that smart fella, we all can agree upon that one, when that Jace Ree's Mog, even though he's a bit arrogant and disconnected from reality, I'm going to choose to listen to him. So the situation that he proposed and Boris Johnson proudly ran into was ending Parliament for 5 weeks. Those 5 weeks, by the way, are the 5 weeks needed to draw conclusion and understanding upon the issues that are addressing us. A deal which is absolutely required. A deal, by the way, Europe has come out and said that they agree upon Jeremy Corbyn's idea of Brexit. They have literally come out and said, we are very open and very, very keen on what Jeremy Corbyn has brought to the table. Did Boris Johnson listen then? No. Did Boris Johnson listen when Parliament, 3 times I believe, said a no-deal Brexit was terminally insane? Did he listen then? No, he didn't. Who did he listen to? Jace Ree's Mog. And Mog's idea of democracy is by ending democracy. That's what Mog's idea of democracy is, by terminally, fundamentally shredding it at the very roots. Very good. What democracy? Well, Parliament has made decisions. It made the decision 3 times, voted against the party in government 3 times. So Parliament did say something. Yes.
They're like a bit of theatre to fool the masses. They've already made a decision.
What's that decision?
Well, they want to do this Brexit thing, whatever.
To leave or not leave, sorry. Yes. But the opposition party wants to leave. Yeah. Do you know the opposition party wants to leave? Yes or no? Just yes or no, please. Does the opposition, just a simple question. Well, Jeremy Corbyn has produced a Brexit deal that Europe has said it would accept, that includes the hard border. Jeremy Corbyn's deal has already been given the green light in Europe. So actually, Parliament, Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party and the Tory Party, they both want to leave Europe. But what they don't want, what the Tory Party doesn't want, and what the Labour Party doesn't want, is no Brexit. Because if you're rich, then no Brexit will never hurt you. Because you can pay your way to make sure the pain is never at your front door. But for the rest of the population, which is 99.9%, that pain will be lived every single day for years and years to come. That pain will mean the possible destruction of the National Health Service, the dismantling of Parliament. Yeah, it's good because this gentleman can afford private.
No, it's not.
So
I
it
don't
is
use
good.
this rubbish.
So it is good for him because he can afford private. Yes, you can pay your way out of any hell. But the rest of the planet actually has to live in that hell that your money goes towards paying out of. You said private is good. You said the national...
NHS, get rid of it, good idea.
Get rid of the National Health Service. And what do we have in its place?
Yeah, get some more natural medicine, not this horrible pharmaceutical company.
And who's going to pay for the natural?
Well, you probably just like...
Is it private by any chance? So my assumption was actually based on what you already are. So it's a pretty accurate assumption. The reason why I guesstimate so much is because you are quite obvious. What you think is not a lie and is not something you can hide. You betray yourself in how you think, how you act, and what you wish from the world. So my guesstimates are exactly that. They are based on what I already know of people, good people like yourself. I guess you wanted private. I guess that. Should we have some other predictions, shall we? Should we have a constitution for the UK? Should we have a constitution? You don't want a constitution, do you, for the UK? Did I guess that right? Am I right on that as well? Do you want the people of the UK to have a constitution which protects the people of the UK rather than having no constitution which absolutely protects the rich? Is that, am I right there as well by any chance? Where we have your idea of a constitution, which means if you have money, then you can make up whatever you wish, which is...
You're building up this straw man.
All right, so we got private, we got the fact that you don't want a UK constitution. What else shall we guess? Do you believe in war and in the institutions of war? Do you believe, yes or no, do you believe in war? Am I going to get 3 in a row here? Yes, am I going to get 3 in a row?
Such an unintelligent question.
Oh, it's unintelligent, is it? So you think war is natural, like medicine, do you? Do you like your idea of medicine? Do you think it's just natural? I think I'm going to get 3 in a row here, aren't I? I'm going to get 3 in a row.
Talking in your own
You
world.
are a great source of what I've been talking about in this past,
Psychologist, you've got your own
which
private law.
is someone that thinks war should just happen. By the way, the rich profit from war. He thinks that the National Health Service should be destroyed, leaving it for the rich to profit from now on. Do we see a trend here? Do we see a trend by taking away your humanity? Your humanity, it makes a couple of people richer, and they then have to pass on that inheritance to the next generation. An inheritance of denying humanity is very quintessential. What does that mean for the next in line for the rich? It means they never, the next in line, can't even embrace their own humanity. They have to learn that being human is a weakness. That is what the inheritance he will pass on to the next generation. Being human is a weakness. Where in actual fact, being human is a constitutional right which you are denied in this country. Sorry, you have to speak up. Do you mind if I shout out what you said? This lady has articulated the view that I might be saying that we need to abolish the monarchy. Is that correct? Thank you. How did she get to that conclusion? She got to that conclusion because I said, you deserve to be human beings. I said that, and she naturally jumped straight to that. The logic is there. The logic is there. But the logic means that we can only have one group of people that are human in society. By your own logic, that means we can only have one group of people that are allowed to be human. And that group are, you believe, are the monarchy. That is the logical. I can't. You see, a definition of becoming human would require wealth. And when you have a small group of people stealing that wealth from you, it's not just money which is being stolen, it's your opportunity to grow as a human being. It's an opportunity being stolen for your community to grow. You believe only one community should grow, and that is the people that are already rich. By the way, the world that these people have made, they have all the money, therefore they have all the responsibility. So they have the responsibility of the world today. What is this world that they have made today? Is it one where they've ended world pollution? Is it one where they've ended world poverty? Is it one where they've ended war? Is it one where they've ended class division and hatred of people amongst themselves? Or is it in fact one where all those things are seen in fact as today's reality? Is it not today's reality? We have world pollution. Is it not today's reality that we have war? Is it not today's reality that we have mass poverty? Is it not today's reality that we have our media telling us who to hate? Yes, this is your responsibility. Do you take that responsibility like a man? Or do you shackle off those responsibilities like you've always done?
I'll take the latter.
No, what you do is pretend what they've done and what they always do is just say it's the people's fault for not working hard enough, for not getting a good enough education, for becoming ill in the first place, for reading the media. They blame the people. That's who you blame. You don't take responsibility. You've never taken responsibility. I propose that you, from this day onwards, start taking a little bit of responsibility for the life that you've inflicted on other people. Are you willing, right now, to say you take that responsibility? Who do you fucking think I'm shouting at? The fucking blowing the whisk? Am I shouting at the wind? Who am I looking at? Who am I looking at? Don't play naive now. You've been so bold and articulate until this point, and I admire that. Don't agree what you say, true, but now don't bring down your own intellect. Stand up as a man. I've asked you as a question as a man. You've been taught, until then, you've been acting like a man. So carry on acting like a man. Let's do that. Don't descend into childish endeavours. So, how are you going to take responsibility?
I didn't accept the premise of your question.
So you do the rich take responsibility for the world that they've made? Do they do that? This gentleman, by the way, is rich. Just in case any of you were confused about that little fact. Do the rich take responsibility for the hell they've made on this earth? You wouldn't be able to answer that. And do you know why he wouldn't be able to answer that? Because it would mean having to have a good fucking look at himself. That's why he can't answer that. A serious look at himself and the damage he's doing to his own family. That's what would it mean. And it would mean having to accept that guilt and responsibility. But that's what you need to do though, isn't it? If you don't want to pass down the horrors of the world to your next generation, what you need to do is actually start taking some responsibility. Because when the people of the world own the world and fuck it up, then they can be blamed for once for the horrors of the world. But the people on this planet own nothing. The people on this planet struggle to live day by day. That's the reality for the majority. And a lot of majority of the people actually are murdered in wars and other forms of genocide. Yeah, NHS, the very thing that actually protects human beings. How many communities have you ever lived in? How many communities have you ever lived in? You don't see where I'm going with this. Does anybody else see where I'm going with this? I'll ask her again. How many communities have you lived in? You lived in one community, and it was a community of wealth. And where in that wealth they all agree with each other. Because if they didn't agree with each other, what it would mean was making sure that all the people on the planet are wealthy. So you live in one community, and that is incestuous intellect. Incestuous intellect.
You're a bit bitter.
Oh, bitter that the world is literally being murdered. Are you not aware of global warming? Are you not aware of air pollution? Are you not aware of radiation destroying whole cities and continents? Are you not aware of war that's happening? And you have the gall to stand in front of me and say, oh, he doesn't like the instruments of wealth. The instruments of wealth, yes. What I've said are the instruments of wealth. He said, oh, I don't like the instruments of wealth. I must have an issue with that.
Napoleon in that Animal Farm, George Orwell's Animal Farm, stirring up the people.
Which bit? Just clarify to the people, which bit have I said which is fake? Can you just please? You've been doing so well.
You're a classic hypocrite.
Please say you made the statement that I'm making some faulty assumptions and statements to the crowd. Can you please list those faulty statements? Dude, you're making a joke out of yourself. And we do have witnesses. And we have another witness here as well. We have another witness. I've asked you a reasonable question. I ask you the reasonable question. What statements have I made that were false? Can you please list 3, or if not just 1?
That radiation is destroying whole continents.
Everything you said is no, we'll soon. Not today.
Sorry, I'll come to you. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for your input. I'll come to you in one moment. Anything you'd like to add, please? You were privately educated. You've had hundreds of thousands of pounds invested into you for your education. So let's hear where that wealth has gone. Okay, literally hundreds of thousands of pounds to educate both of them, literally, which is more than the average person earns in a lifetime, by the way. More than 3 people earn in a lifetime, by the way. And I think we had a gentleman here who said, oh, I'm making faulty statements. In actual fact, this man can't even name one.
But the thing is, it all
Now,
makes sense, but your level of the reality
you said I made faulty sentence. I didn't put words in your mouth. I didn't come down there and tweak your brain.
too hard to explain.
You said that on your own accord, and you dropped yourself right into the fire for
Your
that.
level of consciousness is very low. You don't understand.
My level of consciousness is
Your
very
level of
low,
understanding of the
and yet
world is
I'm
very
raised
poor.
above you, at least 1 foot, literally.
But mentally, you're
Oh, sorry,
because
I didn't
of the
realise you meant metaphysically.
Your consciousness is
I'm
not
joking,
making you
because I
levitate.
knew what he meant.
It's the latter.
Your
Yeah, I'm
level of
joking.
understanding, it all makes sense what you're saying, but it's wrong. It's the level of
Which bit is wrong?
everything, the politics.
Can you
analysis
please
of
just
politics.
specify one thing in your life? You had hundreds of thousands of pounds invested in making you intelligent, so let's hear this intelligence, please.
If you had that money, you'd spend it on your child to give them a better future.
No, but I'll come back to that point. At 2 points, very good, thank
You
you.
haven't realised that when the politics, you're talking about what Jeremy Corbyn says, Boris Johnson, these people aren't decision makers, they're puppets. You haven't grasped
You
it.
repeated that, I disagree with that.
Yeah, well then, are you
But the
asking
people who are rich in our society, like car companies, like the church, they fund politicians for their own cause. Sorry, can I do you mind if I just I can come back to you, but I'd like to let this gentleman speak. Thank you. You made 2 points. Continents. Chernobyl brought down USSR. Single-handedly brought it down. And not
What?
only
What?
that.
Brought down the USSR.
Hang on, I'll come to you in a
Oh,
second.
no. You're
I'm coming
forgetting
to
the
this.
economic aspect.
Yeah,
of
I'll
the
come to
downfall of the
you.
Soviet
You can
Union.
wait your turn. This gentleman, he waited his turn. Are you in such a rush? So, yes, Chernobyl not only brought down a continent, it polluted forever, in human terms, a town and a whole district and a whole part of that country, because the amount of radiation that spread across
But that didn't
neighbouring
destroy. But that
towns,
didn't destroy the continent,
it
like you
brought
said it did.
down a whole country.
You didn't
it
say
dest-
brick down. You said destroyed.
Then I take that back.
Thank you.
I meant
So
to
I
say
was right.
it destroyed a country, and it forever polluted a town and the neighbouring towns around there for hundreds of miles. And if those firemen hadn't sacrificed their lives, it would have literally destroyed all of Europe. If it had gone nuclear, which is what happens in a runaway nuclear accident, if that had had to happen, it would have gone nuclear. And it would have literally destroyed all of Europe. Do you know right now, in Wales and Scotland, there are land you're not allowed to farm on? Did you know that? Do you know why you're not allowed to farm on that land? Because the radiation levels are so high that the milk must be destroyed, the animals' meat must be incinerated and buried, because the radiation levels
But this isn't to do with
on
my
land
point.
is so destroyed. I heard your third point. I corrected myself
Yeah.
on your first point, and I re-articulate what I meant. I thank you for pointing out my errors. You had a second point.
Yeah. He is doing his best for himself and his
Oh, yes.
children, and if you had the money, so would you.
Right. He believes that the way to demonstrate to your next generation the way to be as an adult is by making sure that only your child has a life worth living, then that is justified. What I propose as a solution to our next generation, as what makes a man or a woman, or ever how you wish to describe yourself, is by saying we all have a chance, we are entitled, to have the best education. All of us are entitled
His
to have
money
that.
or his family's money didn't come from nowhere. Along one point, it
Well,
might
let's
be
ask
wrong.
him, where did your inherited money come from?
You're very mistaken.
All right, where did your
Even-
wealth come from then?
Even if what
Where
you're
did
saying is true,
where did
I
your
want to
inherited
discuss it
money
with you.
come from?
Even if what you're saying is
It's
true.
still going to be true for the next generation, isn't it? So it's, where did your inherited money come from? It came, I think I made my point. The thing is, you can't have a society that says you are not worthy. Yes, you're intelligent. Yes, you're passionate. Yes, you're dedicated. But because you don't have any money, what we're going to do is give you the shittest life possible.
And then
that's
from
what
that
you're
life-
proposing. That's what he makes sure happens. Did you go to private education?
No,
Well, how were you educated?
just go to school. Just go to school.
Don't be glib.
Normal.
You're talking about education. You've stood in front of me talking about education. You have to now, you owe it to yourself and this conversation to answer my question. I haven't asked you for your personal address. I didn't ask you for your name or your sexual orientation or your parents' name. What I asked you was something relevant to the discussion that you interrupted me on. Correct?
You asked
So
him and
then-
I gave him a point.
Answer the question.
You want someone who studied the private education,
Because
right?
Not me.
maybe
You
you're
want-
biased,
you-
and we need to discover your bias.
You want?
I wasn't
How-
privately
I'm here.
educated.
I know,
I was
but
privately
you haven't
educated.
answered my
Ask me.
question. How? Come to you in a second, Mr. Eager Pants.
No.
I love Eager Pants.
Because
They're
I want
very
to contribute.
exciting.
I want to contribute.
Because you're
to
fired.
taking
And you
out
are,
the
sir.
information that
Your
you have.
passion has been noted. But unfortunately, we are still dealing with another human being.
But you're picking
and
on
because
him.
you
That's
want
what
to be
you're doing.
rude, doesn't
what you're doing.
entitle you to jump in on the conversation.
I wasn't being rude. Okay, clearly, who's being rude? Me or him? More.
Just because
Are
you're
you
louder
going to
doesn't
answer
mean
my
you're right.
question?
You
Yes
see?
or no?
What's the question?
How were you
Sorry.
educated?
By the
Thank
state.
you for your time. Your input was well and truly appreciated. Thank you very much, sir. We need more people in the park like this, capable of great debate. I disagree with him, but at least he isn't an arsehole. Unlike Steve. Thank you.
I was here for that. How was I educated?
Yes, if you're not going to answer that question, then why are you even bothering having this debate?
What do you want me
You
to say?
belittle your own argument.
I didn't pay to be educated.
You're not even willing to have a debate. So we have finished.
What?
You, sir, Mr. Eager Pants, you are now going to be entertained beyond your wildest dreams because it's now all about you. Go.
About me. No, it's you on the ladder. You wanted somebody who had.
Are you going to waste your time by pointing out the obvious that I'm stood on a ladder? Or are you actually going to make a statement?
I don't know
I'm
who-
pretty sure the audience is aware
I don't know
that I am
Let him-
stood
let him
technically
waste
wasting
on
my
a platform.
time, except you.
Right.
You're the one wasting my
Are you
time.
gonna make the point
because
then?
I am the one trying to speak. You
Then
are
speak.
the one trying to interrupt.
Speak.
You are the one that's picking on this guy, right? Trying to get him to say he had a private education, right? I'm
He said
coming
no.
To you.
He said
I'm
no
coming-
to private education.
After what? I told you no.
I didn't.
He
Yes.
told you no, maybe 4, 5 times, and you were insistent on calling him out, right? And
No,
I'm telling you,
I was
I'm
insistent
here
on him
to give you
making
what you
sure
want.
that he stood up
I'm here
to the great,
to give
noble
you what
endeavours
you want.
of the debate.
I
That's what I
understand
insisted
that you
on.
have practiced all of this in a mirror
No.
before coming here, but I want to get to that point. I want to get to that point.
How are you going to make a point?
He wants somebody who was educated in a private institution. I am here. What questions do you want to ask of me?
Exactly.
Anyway, that was fantastic. Thank you for your input. All of us have been enlightened by his wonderful input.
Clearly he's afraid. I'm here to
And
answer
we
your
all,
question.
we
He's
all
said
are
more
very
facts than you
impressed.
have. You've just said your opinion. You're asking him questions and he's saying, and
No, he
he's
said,
replying to you.
ask me a question, actually. That's what he said. His conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, was to me ask him a question.
Yeah,
I'm on a
you want
platform
someone who studies in
making
private
statements,
institutions. Look at this
not
guy.
asking questions.
Clearly,
Would
clearly
you like
he likes
to
call
make a
people
statement,
out.
sir?
Clearly,
Or are
he likes
you
to
just
call
going to be
people
more
out
interested
and then
in
just
hearing your
run
own
away,
voice?
right?
Because
Run
the
away.
audience here didn't come here just to listen to a voice. They came here to listen to statements.
I'm not the one that,
And also
that practiced
opinions.
in a mirror before coming here.
Okay, you're very clever. You don't have any mirrors in your house. Everyone's fully
I clearly
impressed.
do. I
Right.
clearly do, I think.
We were talking about Brexit originally and how Boris Johnson has managed to unite the country. Unite people that hate each other and dispose and he's managed to unite people that hate want to leave Europe and people want to stay in Europe. And how did the wonderful Boris Johnson manage to unite a country in one cause? Simply, he destroyed democracy. In one stroke, he managed to destroy democracy by saying democracy is suspended for 5 weeks. For 5 weeks before the biggest decision in UK history is going to be made. That's how he's united people. We have people leaving Europe, wanting to leave Europe and stay in Europe in the streets right now, together, united against surely the biggest political moron in history of the UK. That's what Boris Johnson's done. But has Boris Johnson done this to make sure that we address this in an intellectual, in a way that means we can deal with these subjects in a sensible, political and adult-like way? No, he's not united the UK for that. He's united it to destroy the chance for adults who want to discuss this, who will discuss this, and deny the opportunity to discuss this. That's how he's united. Yes. Yes.
I have never seen in my life. This country so divided.
Yes, we have never been so divided in the UK. This is true. This is very true. But the Labour Party, run by Jeremy Corbyn, has a Brexit deal that was greenlit by Europe. Literally, Europe has said they agree with Jeremy Corbyn's Brexit deal. But they don't want to listen to that.
I know Jeremy Corbyn's fan. I'm from the Labour Party, have been in the left of the Labour Party for years and years. And I'm not a Jeremy Corbyn fan. Why? Because Jeremy Corbyn cannot lead. If Jeremy Corbyn,
But it's down to democracy. If a democracy votes to leave, then that should be honoured. And the Tories for 3 years never came to a deal. Never came to a deal for 3 years. While Jeremy Corbyn's deal was green-lit almost from day one. While the Tories destroyed themselves over a Brexit deal. And they are now willing to destroy not only a country, but the very thing that makes this country great, which is democracy within the UK. I think it could be much better. Yeah, it could be much better. I've always said that. But the Tories are now are now
have a
destroying
queen on a throne.
the whole
Divides
UK.
our society
Yeah, no,
right
no.
down to
Democracy needs to be much better in this UK. We both agree with
Yeah,
that.
bloody good idea if we
Yeah,
had some.
we both agree on that. But the Tories,
It's a
for the
word.
last
It's
3
a word
years,
that's meaningless.
have done nothing because a no Brexit deal is the only deal that the Tory party could ever push through. That's the only deal that they could ever agree upon. And that's the only deal that they could ever bring to Europe. Because that's the only way that they could make sure that they leave the European state with no Brexit. From day one that the Brexit debate happened, the only deal the Tories ever had, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, you were never allowed to see the Tories' Brexit deal. You were never allowed to see it because they never had one that was actually genuine or ever would be accepted by anybody. The Labour Party's deal was accepted by Europe, and it went to Europe with the Labour Party. The Prime Minister of the UK was Jeremy Corbyn, who went to Europe with that deal. It would be accepted by Europe because they've already agreed that that is absolutely what we believe is an exit strategy for the European Parliament and for the UK. Any questions? No questions?
I love Brexit.
Yes.
I want us to exit.
Why though? Why? What makes you think? I want to leave Brexit, yes, by the way. But I'm asking you right now to say why you want to leave Brexit. Name me 3 things why you want to leave leave Europe. Why do you want to leave Europe?
I love Britain. I want to maintain my culture. And I want to be as powerful as we used to be.
You want Britain to be your culture. Do you know, without looking down, sir, just keep your eyes up, please. What T-shirt have you got on? You look down. You bloody cheated. You bloody cheated. He loves Britain so much that he's got a capitalist logo on his T-shirt from America. You don't look. And without taking your hat off, sir.
I'm from America, actually.
America as well.
I'm a Republican.
Yeah.
Black Republican.
So you're bullshitting when you said you want to leave Europe. You ain't gonna, at least, you know, I think leaving Europe is a good idea.
Everything that he said. They're both egalitarians.
You mean
They're not.
capitalist? Capitalist.
Did you say catalyst? They're mice. They don't like cats.
I like you. Normally when we have comedians, they do it to be an arsehole. But you're doing it. But you doing it to be actually funny. I respect that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to suck up to you for now for the rest of your stay.
Yes, capitalist.
a Nazi sympathiser?
I believe so.
That's not capitalist.
Yes. Yes.
Just say.
Yes. And who else did Hitler like? John Ford. Henry Ford, thank you. And do you know why he liked Henry Ford? Because the capitalists, like Disney, gave Hitler millions upon millions upon millions of pounds. Nazism was built with money. It couldn't have been any Nazi government if it wasn't for money or oil. And who owns all the money and all the oil? The capitalists. It isn't the pharaohs, is it? It isn't the people of the planet, is it? The people who have the money are the capitalists. Hence, why we call them capitalists. Why they call themselves capitalists. And what did those capitalists do with their money? They funded the Nazi Party so that they could have a war in Europe and murder Jews en masse, murder working people en masse, but bring in a fascist government that would have been very, very open to the policies and needs of the capitalists in America and across the world, as in Germany. Like Schindler's List, Schindler. That fucking piece of shit paid for the Nazi government, and then those cunts made a movie of him because he saved some Jews. If it wasn't for that cunt to begin with, we would have never had concentration camps with Jews in there to begin with. Do you know why Schindler saved some Jews? Do you know why he did that? Do you know why? He did that like some other capitalists who did the same thing.
Why are you wearing hush puppies?
So he could do that.
Someone who's so noisy, wearing hush puppies.
So he
Can't you
did
see
that.
there's a
So that when
inherent contradiction
the
in
world looked to him
Brexit.
and said,
Brexit.
"What did you do?"
Brexit.
He could turn around and say, "Oh, I saved some Jews." In actual fact, he funded the Nazi Party to be in there. He used those Jews to make sure that he wasn't seen as guilty. And what fucking happened? They made a movie out of him. A brilliant Steven Spielberg, a brilliant, fantastic man, fucking made a movie out of a man who used Jews just to get out of the hell that he made so he wouldn't look guilty. And instead of murdering Jews, which is what Schindler did, they made a fucking hero out of him. They made movies out of him. In actual fact, he paid for the Nazi Party to be there in the first place so that his capitalist business would never be questioned on any level. Any questions?
Isn't fascism a form of socialism? Yeah, because the Nazis were national socialists. So actually, Hitler was a national socialist. So fascism is
All right.
It's not like
All right,
capitalism,
yeah, I
it's
get your
more like
point.
socialism.
So you're saying, hang on. He said, isn't the Nazis socialist? So hang on.
Very anti-communist.
No.
That's definitely true.
Dude, you speaking to me or what? He doesn't know what he... Hang
I'm
on.
just asking you to reconcile this.
Hang on.
I'm just a bit confused.
Yo, dude. So you're saying Hitler was a socialist, am I correct?
I'm saying he called himself a national socialist.
All right. So he called himself
Yeah.
a national socialist.
I'm a social
So what you're
democrat.
saying,
What am I?
he's not a socialist then? So what you're saying is, he's not a socialist. He just called himself that. Am I right?
I don't know what he said he was.
Stole the National Socialist Party from
So what does socialism mean?
the little bugger, the homosexual.
Who was?
That one, the one who ran the National Socialist Party.
No. Your first point is totally wrong. Therefore, the rest of your statements are totally wrong. No, you're totally wrong. Your first point was totally wrong. What socialism? I'm not a socialist, by the way. Just to point that out. But at least I fucking know what it is.
Mass murder.
First rule of socialism
Mass murder.
is the people of a country
Brown shirts.
which don't stand too close. If you do, you'll find yourself having a premature shower
Killed them off.
and not the cleanest time.
Absolute scandal.
So I apologise for that, but you've been warned. Also, I shouldn't have to point out the fucking obvious to step back.
When he discovered that Hitler had murdered
yes.
these
Socialism.
brown shirts.
I'm not a socialist. But the first rule of socialism is that the people of a country owns the government.
Enoch was an
Therefore,
admirer
they
of
are the
Germany,
government.
its
You
culture,
don't
its
understand
language,
that basic
its
fact.
poetry.
That means the government is not working against
Father
you
was only a
or
school
on your
teacher.
behalf,
They're called Enoch Powell.
but it's in actual fact.
Highly qualified
It is you.
homosexual politician.
And it is the makeup. Oh, hi there. How you
was a very
doing?
good speaker,
It's in
very
actual fact
Beg your pardon?
your
very good
will
speaker.
Very
and
brilliant, not only
desires.
that, he was a man of
Right
great
now, we have a capitalist government,
He's against capitalism
which is the
altogether.
will
Is what?
of
He
capitalism.
hates capitalism altogether.
That's what
Who?
we have now. You don't have a vote unless you earn millions of pounds. if you don't have millions, then you are ignored as a political human being. Sir, which bits do you disagree with on that? Sir, does anyone else, excuse me, does anybody else disagree with what I've just said? So Will can conclude from his silence that he agrees with me. That's what we will conclude there. That in actual fact, Hitler was a capitalist through and through. Hitler is the political wing of the capitalist part of the Nazi party. Hang on. Yes. Hang on. Nazism is a political wing of the capitalist party. Did I just say that? That's what I meant to say. Nazism is the political wing of the capitalists. And that political party is there to dominate and destroy all other political thought or actions, which is what World War II was all about. World War II was all about the annihilation of anyone who politically disagrees with the capitalist. That's what World War II was all about. It was totally funded by the capitalists. It was totally run by the capitalists. It was their oil that ran the tanks. It was their weapons industry which built those tanks. It was their science that built chemicals and nuclear war. It was all run lock, stock and barrel by the capitalists. And who paid for it all? Who paid for World War II? The taxpayer was forced to pay for it all. That's what capitalism is, and that's what capitalism will always be. Yo!
Content over everything from your melody.
God, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen. Why are we so busy? Who's singing here? If you don't mind, who's singing here? Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
Why are we so busy to talk to each other? We can spend 4 hours on our phone.